Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. Hope everyone's having a wonderful Wednesday. It's a very beautiful day out here where I live. I wanted to go ahead and film a video. This one's going to be a little bit different from what I've been talking about. I've been mainly focusing on my stories while being raised in a Jehovah's Witness organization. We're going to deviate a little bit from that today and talk a little bit more about my personal journey. This one talking about mainly my journey with enjoying my natural self and appreciating my natural self as I am, mainly pertaining to my natural hair. So if you're interested in hearing more about my story, please stay tuned. As you can see on this video and some of the other videos that I've filmed in my thumbnails at times, I do have locks, or dreadlocks as some people call them. And I've actually been growing these for almost 5 years. It'll be 5 years in November. I might do a follow-up video talking a little bit about my lock journey when that time comes. But that's one of the two things I wanted to actually do with this channel. I wanted to focus a lot on my growth inside and outside the Jehovah's Witness organization. But I also wanted to discuss my journey with my natural hair and my natural self. So pretty much through my entire life, I've kind of struggled with taking pride in who I am, appreciating my unique beauty both inside and out. And that was kind of a struggle I had from being a kid all the way up until even after I left the Jehovah's Witness organization. So prior to me growing out my locks, I actually had relaxed hair, and it was basically something that I was used to because my mom basically started relaxing my hair when I was a very young kid, about 3 or 4 years old, according to her. And so I was pretty much used to having straight, relaxed hair. I was so young, in fact, I don't remember the first time that my hair was relaxed. And I was so little, I actually thought that my hair grew out of my scalp straight. I had no idea that that the chemicals that were being put in my hair was the reason that my hair was straight. And a lot of people in my family, especially my mom's side, they have looser textured hair. Their hair is more curly than kinky, which is how my hair is. And I think at the end of the day, my mom wasn't really sure what to do with my hair when I was little. And this was the late 80s, early 90s. And at the time, the standard of beauty was straight hair. And so I don't know if it was necessarily anything negative or bad or on her part. She just simply, relaxed my hair for convenience. And so pretty much that's what I was used to, every few weeks getting the relaxer put in my hair. I got used to all the rules that it entailed. Don't go in the pool without a swim cap, keep your ends covered, all those things that you have to do with that kind of hair, because when those chemicals touch it, it's kind of a fragile, it leaves it in a fragile state. And I remember looking around like at my cousins who they got to go in the swimming pool with their hair and didn't have to worry about washing it out and running the risk of their hair falling out. And it kind of made me sad. I honestly did not like having straight hair, because to me, putting it in a ponytail and things like that, it didn't look as fun as maybe somebody with curly hair in a ponytail. So I was never really truly happy with my hair in that state. But because I was so used to basically having natural straight hair, I just dealt with it. It was basically something that you had to kind of deal with. And because, I assumed, basically, I thought my mom was putting this stuff in my hair, even though it was damaging, and I was getting scabs and everything from having it relaxed. I thought she has to be protecting my hair from some sort of defect. I thought, obviously there's something wrong with my hair, that there is some defect where she's protecting me from that. And basically the side effects of all those chemicals was just, a byproduct of that. And I used to see like the little girls on the hair products, and some of them had relaxed hair and some of them didn't. And I remember seeing some of the little girls with natural hair that might have been similar to what mine's was. And I admired their hair as well. I necessarily didn't like it because I was kind of conditioned at the time. I didn't necessarily admire it as much as like the looser, curlier texture. But I thought their hair was beautiful too, and they, And so I only remember actually feeling pretty or feeling beautiful when I actually had my hair in braids, or when some type of extension was being put in my hair, especially a curly one. That was the main time where I kind of felt more pretty as a little kid. And it wasn't until I was about 7 or 8 years old that I started to realize the connection between my mom putting the relaxer in my hair and the texture of my hair. I started seeing the patterns. She put the relaxer in my hair. After a few weeks, my hair would be poofy. And then a few weeks later, the thing would go in my hair, and then the poofiness would disappear. And that's where I kind of figured out on my own that my hair was not naturally straight. That it was probably... And so I figured out that my hair was probably more of a kinkier texture. The texture that I actually seen on, in some hair products and things like that. And for some reason, I think in my mind it became conditioned that that texture was not good, because that was possibly the defect that my mom was protecting me from. And so it kind of created a skewed sort of view as far as hair textures and things in me. And that would basically follow me for years to come. So growing up, I pretty much relied on my mom for my hair care. I started styling my hair on my own when I was in my when I was around 10 or so. But I still came to her for my relaxers and to get my hair trimmed. And I remember my hair never getting past my shoulders. It would be long and thick. It'd get to shoulder length, and then it would randomly start thinning out. I'd start getting split ends, and then I'd have to cut it. And I basically dealt with that cycle all the way pretty much into adulthood. And so once I grew up and I got out of college and I started working for myself, I had the money to afford things like protective styles. And so I definitely, once I got past the age of 23, 24, and I started making my own money, basically I started hiding my hair. And so even though I still continued to relax my hair, I was constantly putting in braids, cornrows, twists, anything that had to do with extending hair. For about a year or so, I started kind of dabbling in sewing weaves. And that's kind of a hilarious story because I had no idea what I was doing when it came to weave. And so that led to a lot of disasters and a lot of terrible looking hair. But I just remember constantly kind of hiding my hair because, again, I wasn't necessarily happy with my hair. But the good thing that came out of it was that my hair gradually, as I got older, became a little more healthier as it could be when your hair is chemically processed. Because the more I put it in those protective styles, the less I relaxed it, the more I left it alone, the thicker it got. So it started getting a little bit longer. It still wouldn't grow past my shoulder because I was constantly changing up my hair. So I was constantly cutting my hair. I love wearing bobs and things like that. And so I was constantly changing up my hair. But it was, at this point, it was a lot healthier than it was when I was younger. And so around 2009 is when I remember the natural hair movement starting. When women started appreciating their natural hair without the chemicals or without the things that would make it straight. But basically what they did, they promoted a lot of the hair textures that were, again, the curly ones. So like the ones in my family. So I still was a little hesitant in going natural, but my mom and my younger sister actually went natural. And so they stopped using the relaxers and they started, growing out their natural hair. And then when their hair got to a certain length, they would cut the relaxed part off and just start over. And so I remember admiring that, but in my mind, I didn't have the type of hair that would look good natural. Even I could think of when my mom started her natural hair journey. Even though, again, she has that curly type of hair, she got a lot of flack and a lot of just negativity and ugliness when she finally went natural, even from her own husband, who I think was used to seeing looser textured hair and long hair. And it was pretty bad for her. It was pretty rough. Well, I remember whenever they got into arguments, one of the things that he would say is, "Go fix your hair." And so, it made me feel bad for her. I thought her hair was beautiful, but it kind of, again, pushed me away from going natural because I didn't want that same hatred and negativity coming towards me. And then at that time, I was still in the very active in the Jehovah's Witness religion. And one thing they do as a religion is they take a lot of pride in their personal appearance and how their members look, especially the sisters. If you want to be kind of viewed as above reproach, as they say, you really have to make sure everything's neat, including your hair. And in my opinion, I don't think natural hair was viewed in a positive light. I remember a lot of sisters whose hair might have been kinky like mine's. They weren't necessarily looked in a high regard. The ones who were covered their hair up like me. And so it was kind of a struggle kind of being able to embrace maybe natural hair within the religion. Even locks, me having this type of hair was kind of frowned upon there. I remember my best friend that I talked about in my last video, her mother had locks. I mean, she was actually my inspiration in wanting locks. But again, she wasn't looked at in a positive light. Even her own daughter would, kind of make fun of her hair at times. So those things kind of, again, made me hesitant in embracing my natural self. So in 2012, I met my soon-to-be husband. And he kind of helped me a little bit to appreciate who I was in my natural state. Very supportive, of course, told me I was beautiful and things like that. So that kind of made me feel really good about myself, because you're not really told that a lot in the organization, and you're not expected to seek that from outside of the organization. So the following year we eloped, and not too long after that I left the religion. But even after I left the Jehovah's Witness organization, I still had those same insecurities and perceptions of my natural self, including my hair. So it took me about another year to slowly appreciate the things about me that was naturally beautiful, including my personality. But the funny thing was, it was more so circumstances that caused me to eventually go natural. One of the things, when we first got married, we traveled a lot and we moved a lot because my husband did a lot of contract work. And so one of the places that we ended up having to move was this place in Michigan that had a population of less than 1,000 people. And you can count on your fingers the number of people that were my color. So basically, I couldn't go to a beauty salon. They didn't have a beauty supply store in that place. So I was basically stuck. And so I remember being frantic, trying to figure out who was going to do my hair, who's going to relax it and maintain it. I had never learned how to actually apply my own relaxer. So it was a very stressful thing to me. Like, how am I going to upkeep myself? But it just kind of came to me as an epiphany one day as I was wondering how I was going to do these things. I just thought to myself, wait a minute, you don't need those chemicals. You can just go natural. And so it kind of happened like that. I didn't think it would happen so soon. I thought I was going to be still perming my hair into my 40s. And so it just kind of happened like that. Of course, I told my husband, and he's been supportive of whatever hairstyle I have. And so what I did basically was, I basically let my hair grow out for about 4.5, 5 months. Just let it grow out. And then when I felt like I had a little enough of new growth to sustain a hairstyle, I did cut it off. And by the time I did cut it off, we had actually, that contract ended. So we were actually moved to an area that did actually have beauty salons and things for black people. But my decision was pretty much made at that time to go ahead and do that. And it was very scary, very nerve-wracking. I cut off all my hair. My hair had never been shorter than chin length, and basically I had a little mini afro. And so that was scary to me, still feeling beautiful. But again, when you have supportive people in your corner, in this case I had my husband and his family. His mother had actually gone natural a couple months before, and she had the same hair texture as me. It was a beautiful thing to kind of be supported by that. So for the next 2 months, I basically rocked my short natural hair. It was, again, kind of nervous having hair that short, but I learned to love it. My husband said he loved it. And around that time, I actually got pregnant with my daughter. So everything kind of fell into place because I was about to have a child, and I wanted my child to appreciate her natural self. And so it was just a really soul searching time, leaving a religion that I had been basically raised in and learning about my natural self. So that was 5 years ago. My daughter is about 4.5. And of course, she's natural. She has locks like me. And so it's just been a wonderful journey so far. So I just wanted to make this video and talk about my journeys and appreciating who I was and the skin I'm in. And so if you're dealing with those similar struggles, just appreciate who you are, no matter what skin tone you are, hair texture, body type. Love who you are, because you are a beautiful person inside and out. So hopefully you enjoyed this video. I'd like to actually make a little mix of both Ex-Jehovah's Witness videos along with videos about natural hair and locks and things like that. Maybe talk about lock tutorials. I would like to do another lock journey video when my locks turn 5. So if you're interested in that, please let me know in the comment section, and please stay tuned. In the meantime, go ahead and like, comment, and subscribe. And if you like what you hear, please stay tuned. Much love.